Hi, and welcome to Morning Coffee with Pazan Academy. I'm Deanna, and today I want to talk to you about something that you may have been hearing while we're going through the COVID-19 pandemic, and that is the idea of a victory garden. Victory gardens were first introduced in the United States in 1917, right before the U.S. entered World War I. Charles Lathrop Pack organized the National War Garden Commission as a way for Americans to contribute to the war effort, and the idea behind this was that if Americans could grow their own food in their own yards or their own communities, then the U.S. could export more food to help support the Allies in the war. And so this commission organized various efforts to promote this idea. One of them were these war posters that said, "Sow the seeds of victory." In addition, information about how to start seeds, what types of fruits or vegetables you should grow in your region, pamphlets, all sorts of information was disseminated throughout the United States to encourage people to grow their gardens. So even if people had a very small plot of land, they could still grow some food. The idea was that they could grow food for their own families to help augment what they would need to eat. So the U.S. could send some of the produce from these larger agricultural farmers overseas to help the effort. So by 1918, after the U.S. had already entered the war, there were people throughout the United States that were able to harvest their own fruits and vegetables. Now, the next phase of this program was to teach people how to preserve these fruits and vegetables. And this included disseminating information on how to can, how to preserve, and how to store these fruits and vegetables for later use. And so the commission sent out pamphlets and again created posters about the preservation from these victory gardens. So in this first wave from World War I, pretty much any land that was open, including school playgrounds and fields within the community, were put to use for farming. They also instituted the USSGA, the United States School Garden Army, and this was an enlistment of children to help with this effort. And so the children would learn gardening skills and they would help garden and harvest, and this was a great opportunity for them to really understand where food comes from. By the end of the war, the Victory Garden effort had declined quite a bit. After the war was over, these gardens kind of fell to the wayside. Some people continued their own gardens, but most people went back to getting food the way that they had always done, by buying it from local vendors or markets. Fast forward a little bit to World War II, and the Victory Garden sees a resurgence. But this time, it's not just to send food to allies. This is because there's actually food rationing. And so the government once again encourages people to grow their own food in order to have what they need to feed their families. During both World Wars, the gardens allowed people to grow their own food and get the sustenance that they needed, but they also served another purpose. They helped with morale. People were feeling like they were contributing, that they could do things even without being on the front lines. And these gardens became a way of expressing patriotism. Now, in the modern world, I've seen quite a few articles about victory gardens in light of what's going on with this pandemic, encouraging people to go out with their families and grow some of their food in the spring of 2020. And this is a great idea for you to do with your kids because they can do seed starts. They can start seeds. They can understand how to care for something like a plant, what it needs, light and water. And so they're learning about botany, and then they can transplant and have a little garden that they can cultivate. They can weed. They can make sure that it's not being, taken over by pests. If it is, you can look up non-harmful ways, some organic ways of dealing with those pests. For instance, eggshells in the garden are great if you're having a slug infestation. And so these things are great teaching and learning opportunities, and then you get to have the harvest. So not only are you teaching your kids about botany, you're also teaching your kids about where food comes from. It's not this magical thing that just appears at the supermarket. So during this time where we're encouraged to stay home and have social distancing, this is a wonderful activity to do as an entire family, and you can bring in this tradition of the Victory Garden into the modern world. Well, I'm off to go check my seed starts. If you're liking what we're doing, please subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and check out our other social media. We have links in the description below. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.